Yes. Let's take a deep breath together.
Yeah.
And all the people over there who are there with us or seeing this later, let's breathe with us a few times. All the energy. And feel what's alive right now in yourself. Are we checking in? I feel so much emotions. My heart is speaking. I feel love, appreciation, and yeah, I'm honored that we are here together today, on this beautiful morning. And I know that place where you are in Bali. I was there exactly 1 year ago in January with a group. And there we dive deep into a course about Tantra. And yeah, it opened up new doors in myself. I felt after that more aliveness, deeper connection with myself and source. And yeah, it was amazing to be with you there on your temple. And you know, I love you. And yeah, man, that's why I asked you for this co-creation. And yeah, maybe before we dive in, yeah, maybe some words from you. What are you feeling right now at this moment, and what's your intention for this session? Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure. I spent about 10 years in the Netherlands between 2000 and 2010, and with a girlfriend over there in Haarlem. So it's very nice to reconnect with the tribe over there. And yeah, I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling excited to see you again, man, because I have lots of appreciation for what you're doing and yeah, the way you show up for the world, and also for the topics that we're gonna check in, because I know that we're in profound alignment with our vision and with what we see about the world, and you know, the things that can be done on an individual and collective level as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Feeling super excited, man.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are here live on this platform now, Studio New Earth, and it's all about creating a new earth together, and it's about co-creation in a new way. And I know you are living your mission, yeah, so deeply. And yeah, I think we can dive into it. And the first question is. Because you talk a lot about awakening and awakening life and awakening humankind. So what does it mean for you, awakening humankind and awakening planet, awakened life? What do you feel?
Yeah. So the model that I have in my mind, in my life, is that the physical reality that we live in is a little bit like being in the 3-4 dimensional reality, right? It's like being in a sheet of paper. When you're in a sheet of paper, you just got two dimensions, right? Just flat. And then when you suddenly go into the third dimension, vertical dimension, suddenly you go like, oh my God, there is all this multiplication of possibilities and spaces that were not discovered before. So I feel that right now on a planetary level, what's happening is that we are living in a matrix, right? Within a reality which is time and space. And we miss two very essential dimensions. The first one is the dimension of energetics. And the dimension of energetics means that we have an etheric body, right? We have an aura, or auric field, everything that is happening. Like even us having this conversation right now, we are tuning into a telepathic reality. And you might be feeling things that I'm feeling, and we are just having this conversation, and we are in two completely different parts of the world. So there is, you know, this degree of energetics that we don't understand. Like, for instance, when somebody gets sick, we go like, we give them a drug or we give them medication about, but we don't look at the energetics. We don't look at the real causes of things. And so the essential shift that I feel needs to happen when it comes to awakening, it is starting to understand. When we say, oh, everything is energy, we go like, yeah, that's a thought. You know, we have that thought, we have this understanding, we know that everything is energy, that you know, our bodies are just empty space, and but we don't experience it. We don't know how to navigate that on an energetic, emotional level. So that's the first step. And then the second step, which I feel that is entering into the sixth dimension. The energetics is the fifth dimension, and the sixth dimension is entering into really the spiritual realms. Mm-hmm. And the spiritual realms really, really means that suddenly we start seeing what is going on behind the scene, with intelligences and forces at play, designers that are consciously orchestrating human evolution, designing our minds, angelic powers, gods and goddesses, alien life forms. You know, we go like, oh, aliens, yeah, I believe that. You know, we are surrounded by incredible amount of intelligence and forces that are guiding our human evolution since the beginning of time. The rise of a civilization is just the input of some god or goddess breathing onto this earth, and then suddenly there is like 3,000 years of history that are being created like that. So the awakening means entering into these dimensions and finding pathways to awaken that. Awakening is not just like, oh, getting some personal development tricks and, you know, learning how to read books faster, or discovering how to communicate better. Those are nice. This is personal development. But when we talk about spiritual evolution and spiritual awakening, we're talking about a whole new dimension. It's entering literally a new dimension, the fifth and sixth dimension in the model that I use.
Exactly. Amazing how you explain this. And in a practical way, for a lot of people are listening right now, and maybe they hear some things and they feel some things. But what is the benefit for us all, and what is, in essence, the benefit to connect with those higher dimension and living in those higher dimension?
Well, you know, what tends to happen is that we feel a sense of profound disconnection, right? It's like we are searching for connection with loved ones, or with the invisible, with the planet, and we go like, well, everybody needs to open their hearts and, you know, discover that. For instance, you might have an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, and you go like, how do we communicate? How do we create connection, right? So I have the feeling deep inside, we all are looking for being in a state of union, in a state of unity. And this union can happen through different forms. It can happen with a partner, you know, an external partner, a romantic partner. It can happen with family. It can happen with passion, with what we do, with our mission. And it can happen also with connection with the invisible. And so this is the first benefit. It is that we want to feel connected. When you wake up in the morning, you don't want to feel like, wow, something is fundamentally missing, something is wrong. So being in that state of union completely changes everything, because suddenly we are in a state of peace and ease, and everything else that happens in life becomes a game. And so what this is the first point, is that once we enter into this state of unification, then everything starts feeling really fun and nice and easy. And then we start seeing life more like a game that we're playing. And in this game, what happens is that things become more fun, they become more aligned, they become more easier. And we suddenly start unleashing new levels of creative energy, seeing our place in the universe and in the greater scheme of things. We start, you know, synchronizing our pathways, our actions, feeling better in our bodies, and basically seeing our contribution, or our active co-creation role in what is happening in our lives. What we tend to do very often is to victimize ourselves, right? We go like, something is happening in our lives and we go, it's the fault of an external circumstance. It's because as a child, this happened to me, or this is because of my partner, or this is because of the political system. This is because of COVID now. So we've got lots of things out there to blame. But the fundamental change that we can do when we enter into this state of awakening is to start taking responsibility and starting to own and start to self-reflect and start to realize that each one of our actions is bringing a certain result.
Yeah.
Right. Like, for instance, right now, you and I, we are in a state of mind, in a certain state of mind, but we can direct very consciously what's going to happen over the next 5 minutes. Like, for instance, we could literally just start entering into a state of energetic awareness and activation where we would enter into a state of trance, higher trance within 5 minutes, right? We know we can do that. And we would use the breath or sound or something.
Maybe we can do that at the end of this this session. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do an activation. Yeah. I think it's
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, this is the direction in which we can start looking at life, from a place where we become active, conscious designers of our lives, active, conscious designers of what's happening around us. Because once we understand the codes and we understand the dynamics of life, and we understand the dynamics of energetics of what's happening in our system, like how things are really working, then we can see the places where we can influence, where we can tweak a little bit the code, we can tweak the systems or the programs, and start activating a different way of engaging. So all that is very precise. This is why we can call it spiritual science, you know.
Amazing, amazing. So in a way, the collective is in a sleep, or they are blind in a way. They are not fully using their senses, and not seeing clearly, not listening clearly, not feeling fully. And what kind of problems you see right now in the world, in the collective? What is the biggest problem, or what is the problem?
The challenge that we're facing.
The challenge, right? The challenge.
Yeah. The word that I use here is collective shadows, or the shadows that we're encountering. The first thing that I want to say is that we are doing great as a human race. You know, well, we are doing great. It's like we go like, we can focus on the things that are wrong, or we can focus on the things that are right. And I think that we are performing incredibly well. That the amount of things that are working way overpasses the things that are not working. It means that we have lots of things working for us. Like, we wake up every morning with this body, and for 90% of people on this planet, at least the body is just doing its thing, and it's just like this miracle. And then we have families, and we have nations, and we build cities and grow food and all that, and this is going on all the time. So we tend to forget about that. And one of the main challenges for me when I started engaging into this quest was like, oh my God, I've got to rescue the world, and I got to save the planet. And we're like, no, we don't. The world is fine, people are fine, it's not, we don't have, there's nothing there that we need to fundamentally change. Well, in a way, yes, but what I mean is that it's okay, we can chill, relax. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, it's like, it's fine, the world is fine. Then the next step is like, just give a little bit of help here and there, just help for the stream to flow a little bit better, whether it's internally inside of us, or externally in in society, or in the people that we know in our social circle, or friends, or businesses. So give a little help. Taking it from that place. And the places where I feel that there can be things can be upgraded is really, right now, I don't even think that it's on the level of the individual, because the individuals are responding to systems, right? To metrics and systems that are in place. And I feel that the systems need a fundamental upgrade. There is, bureaucracy, political systems, commercialization of things, and so on. It's like there are frames in which we live that are a little bit too rigid. The human spirit has a potential right now that it cannot express, because we are forcing through education, very young souls who are ready to enjoy life and play with life and be free and creative, being forced into something that becomes more and more narrow, that eventually limits the possibilities of the human spirit. So my belief is that right now, yeah, on an individual level, we can, learn how to evolve, but the systems need to change. The systems need to evolve. And by systems, I mean, yeah, the frames in which we live. Right now, we live in a world which is very much made of straight lines, right? It's like communication, internet, the way it works when you go to a city is just straight lines. It's not geared towards spiritual awakening. It's not geared towards beauty. It's not geared towards creating incredible experiences. Cities are going to be polluted with toxicity, extreme sound toxicity, extreme air pollution, and things like that. So those are systems in which we are being forced as individuals. And if I could wish for something, is the fundamental shift to systems that take care of human wellness first. When you go to Bhutan and you go like, the number one value over there or currency is happiness, it's not money. You go like, we do things because that's going to create happiness. So the national growth for a country, that's right now how we measure how successful a country is how much it's growing, how the commercialization of things. And you go like, this is not a really very wise way of measuring that. So I would say that this is the place where there is a huge space for upgrade. Of course, on individual level, we can all make our own effort and evolve in our own way, but there is something way, way bigger that we have to shift as a human race. And to do that, we need help. We need help. We're like, please, we are ready for an upgrade over here.
We need help. Yeah. So how we can embrace or be more open for help. So what can we do to open ourselves for new possibilities?
Yeah.
That's a question that's coming up then. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So, we all heard about meditation and prayer, right? So when we sit down and meditate, like for instance, before going on this Zoom call, you close your eyes and you set up intention, right? You go like, we are like tuning into this invisible reality, because we know that in this invisible reality, there is guidance.
Yeah.
So this is the easiest thing that we can do is just like open our arms and be like, if you don't know how to meditate or how to pray, we just go like, please help.
I surrender.
I'm ready. Yeah,
I'm ready.
I surrender. With the tools that I have right now in my field, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know where to go. So it's a constant prayer. If you look around my temple over here, I've been here 7 years now in Bali. It's mantras and invocations and quotes and divine secret language everywhere. Yeah. Because I believe that, when we start using words of power, then we can start activating that. So you don't have to do that alone. This is the thing which is important. It is that there are existing systems, schools of awakening that allow you to speed up your evolution instead of you having to figure it out individually, right? You can go to a library, find a book, and then spend 2 years reading that book and trying to understand what an old yogi tried to say 100 years ago. And then, but that's going to take some time. But we have existing systems that allow you to speed up your evolution and, bypass most of the challenges or problems that you might face when you're doing that alone. And so this is like, this is why I focus on the idea of Tantra or the field of Isis or the fields of energy, because I believe those are sponsoring forces. They are sponsoring energy realities that when we enter into those realities, then it's like entering into a sacred temple.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you want to learn a new skill? Well, you go to school, you go to a university. And once you enter into that university, you will have a support structure. You have buildings, you have resources, you have teachers, you have support structures that are going to help you anchor that in your field. If you try to do that all by yourself, then it's going to be way, way more difficult, because you have to figure out all the intricacies by yourself. So when it comes to spiritual evolution and spiritual awakening, it is a little bit the same thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, find the tribe, find your tribe. Yeah.
So take me there. So what is it when Shiva goes to the Shiva school that he is in? So in your daily life, what are you doing? You talked about little words, mantras. So
yeah,
what do you do in your school to connect with the new information and upgrades? And
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing is that everything is very intentional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Intentional means that when I am doing something or I invite you to do something, it's with the vision of the result of what's going to happen because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, right now I'm having this amazing, I call this one ginger blast, right? And it's ginger, lemon, and mint, right? Mm-hmm. So when I drink half a liter of this in the morning, it's very, very different than drinking half a liter of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Or drinking just water. I tested the the vibration, the frequency of this, and I try, like for a week I'm going to drink water, and then I drink that for a week, and then I see the difference. So once I perceive that this is having a very positive and beautiful, powerful impact, then I commit myself to keep on doing what works. So amazing. Yeah, this is just one aspect. Usually by 10 o'clock I already did like 20 things that are empowering the day, right? So it will be cold showers, singing mantras, breathing, shaking, different practices, building up my body, building up muscle and energy, and then engaging into lines of action that are going to impact the world. In that case, is stimulating my mission in whatever way I can. But what it means is that there is a lot of energy work. It's like the shaking and the breathing to create a field of energy which stays very clean and very clear. This is super important because otherwise our minds get cluttered. Like right now I'm in Bali, the sky is blue, and it's, you might say, well, this is really a nice environment, nice space. At the end of the day, I'm still going to go down into the river where we went together, right? Yeah. And over there, just go under the waterfalls and cleanse and purify my system while I spend an hour, shaking, breathing, singing mantras, and activating those, this freshness of energy. One element here, which is very, very clear and very intentional, when the audience over here, when you hear about Tantra, right? For most people in the West will be like, oh, sensual gratification, how to have better sex. Mm-hmm. You're like, that's a really small fraction of what's going on here. What's going on here is the complete awakening and the complete mystical awakening of our beings. And to do that, to create that temple, to activate the invisible temple, the use of mantras or sacred formulas are like the codes that unlock certain things. For instance, if you and I have never met and you are on the other side of the world, unless I have an email address or a Facebook page or a phone number or something, a way to access you, you will be like this distant reality. I go like, I just have a picture of you, but I don't know how to reach you. The moment I know your name, I go, Mathijs, then suddenly I go like, okay, let's start searching, let's start connecting. So I go like, Mathijs. I start typing that, and then suddenly, boom, I nail it. I go, oh, that's where you are. Now I know how to access you because I've got your name, or I've got your phone number, or I've got your anchor in one of the social media places. So with the divine, it's a little bit the same thing. For instance, if you go and you want to access peace, you're like, how am I going to access peace? Suddenly you can say, well, I want peace, or peace be upon me, peace be upon you. I bring peace into your life. So suddenly we start building codes and energetic intentions that associate what we are with the intention of building peace. But now what if we have the word Shanti? Mm-hmm. Shanti, suddenly we go like, oh, now we are accessing codes, ancient Sanskrit codes that were designed 3,000 years ago or more to bring light into this planet. Imagine that we have angelic force, angelic powers that suddenly transmit codes of light into humankind, and suddenly they go like Shanti, peace, Surya for the sun, and so suddenly you have all that reality that starts incarnating itself, and then suddenly we go like, oh my God, it's this revelation of powers that we can activate. So the mantras is one of the core things that I'm using over here. And there is more than that, of course, because just with mantras, you stay on an energetic transcendental level. You have to bring all of that into an energetic integration, multidimensional integration and embodiment. It's not enough to just have a beautiful mystical experience and that's it. No, it has to impact your thoughts, impact your emotions, all the way down into the physical body. This is why we have communication techniques and personal development tactics as well, to optimize the different aspects of our personality. It's not just a transcendental experience. We want full-on multidimensional integration into our beings. And so that requires a whole set of tools. This is why it's not, it's not an abstract path. It's not like disappearing in a monastery and just doing the spiritual practices. We want to bring all that into embodiment. I want to check where my shadows are, where the places where there is contraction, where my inner child needs healing, or where my inner female, my inner feminine energy needs to be reactivated. I want to know all of that. So for this to happen, we have to go all the way into physical embodiment, being in relationships, being in the world, making money, doing all that stuff. Otherwise, it's just abstract. So if we want to bring it into the planet, and we want to be leaders in the way we are doing that, then we need to have a full multi-dimensional embodiment or integration. Otherwise, for those of you who are watching us, you're going to be like, yeah, I don't know if I can trust you, because you don't demonstrate actually an embodied experience. I want to feel that what you're talking about is a real experience that is embodied all the way into the physical reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, so it's about every intention and every action every day, right? And not only practice once or have a but that's what I see a lot of people forget, and sometimes for me as well, that I have to check in with myself again, and I forget about the things that are working out for me, that will have me connect with the wholeness, and it's
exactly.
easy to distract or to forget, or
absolutely,
to be lost in all those systems and everything what's going on in this world. So
for sure, in a way, it's like when you see the movie Avatar, and this captain over there, he goes like, everything out there is trying to kill you. It's like, well, when you go into the matrix, when you go into the cities, everything out there is trying to kill your spirit in a way. It's literally what's happening, because it's like commercialization on everything, just become a consumer and just fit within the agenda of bigger structures. So it's like the more docile you are, the less creative you are, it's almost like fitting within, and that's being forced from education from a very young age. So this is the challenge that we're facing, is like sustaining, you need to be in society, in the world, and in a city, in an urban environment, a little bit like a ninja, ready to go like, where's the juice, where is the energy, where is it that, and find out in the supermarkets, where is the super healthy food, where are the connections that are not going to be toxic, what's the ways of engaging into life that are going to generate energy. And so this is a whole, it's a whole art form. It's not a linear thing where you just go follow a pathway every day, the same thing, it's like, it needs creative power, it needs to engage, it needs to be a spontaneous thing as well. There needs to be lots of space for creativity and flow. And it's a whole art form. This is why it takes a whole lifetime to master this.
Yeah, it's amazing to call it art. Art form, and
of course,
and to play with it. And So I know you work a lot with men and women also, to help them to reconnect with themselves and everything around us, with nature. But let's start with the men, with the brothers. in this world? What do you see? What kind of challenges they are facing? So a lot of men come to you and work with you. What are the challenges they facing? And yeah, what is the problem? What do you see?
Yeah. So again, in the process of education, in the process of conditioning of what we go through as, you know, children and teenagers as men, we're going to be robbed from a few aspects of our being. And this is the mystical self and the wild man. The wild man inside of us is being suppressed. I mean, you are a little bit like a Viking and a real warrior, of course. And we have that because we have been consciously reawakening it. But when we feed within the lines of what society is conditioning us to do, is like put a tie, put a suit, feed within the norms of what is being required, be a good husband, be a good partner, be a good father, pay your taxes, pay your bills, have a car, take care of practicalities. And so in the process of doing that, you go like, where is my soul? This is why so many men go through stages of burnout and soul searching and midlife crisis. Only it's 40 years old, this guy, and you go like, I've been doing everything that has been required from me. And I feel like I don't fucking know who I am. I'm completely lost. And so this is the challenge. It is that what we want, what I feel men need the most right now is to reconnect with themselves, to take a moment to just look inside of them. This is why we talk about doing the work, you know, yeah, you have to do the work. You say, what does it mean to do the work? So what does it mean? It says you have to pause, you have to stop and look inside. You have to look inside. You have to first understand your dynamics, how all that works, the energetics, and then discover ways of optimizing. And in the process of optimizing your being and your life, and what you start discovering is that there are fundamental archetypes, energy sources in our fields that have been suppressed and completely cut out of our field. And so this is precisely the wild man, you know. For instance, we can go into this place where we become like children or like fools, you know. I got, you know, and it's like we can unleash this crazy being inside of us. And you say, why don't we do that? It's because it's scary, because it's like, oh, we have to feed within the norms, you know. But it's like if you and I were here in the same space and we were wrestling and we entered into that space, within 5 minutes of being a bit crazy, we're going to generate some juice. So being crazy, you know, in that sense, not from a place of you are completely taken over by spirits, and no, it's like there is juice in there. So this is the fooling part. And then going into precisely the inner child, or being into the lover, into the mystic, going into the wild man, where suddenly you have access to a field of emotions like volcanic fire raging from within, where you feel like you have the power to conquer and to defend your family and show up in ways that were not accessed before. So this is the awakening of the lower chakras. This is like the dark masculine aspects that start waking up. And again, you know, this is a whole system. It's the Kala fire, the fire of Kala. The fire of Kala is an aspect of one of the aspects of Shiva archetypes that we can start waking up. So what I do with men, take them into the jungle, and we start breathing and shaking and activating energy so that we can reconnect with those aspects of ourselves in a way that is safe. Because when we go into the darkness, then we go like, oh, that's come and join the dark side. You know, it's like, oh, what are you talking about? What is this? This is dangerous. This is bad. You go like, no, darkness is a very beautiful, shining place. It's just pure energy. It's the shadows of darkness, it's the corruption of darkness that makes darkness bad. So it's a bit like money. You have money, you can do whatever you want with it. You can use it to save people's lives, to create charities, to create amazing things, or you can use it to destroy the planet and humankind. The same money is the same energy, the same with darkness. You have light and darkness, two polarities of life. Both of them are playing together. And in the process of growing up, in the process of trying to be nice guys, we connect with the light. We go like, oh, we are light beings. Great. Okay, now it's time to go and conquer the darkness, conquer the dragons, and become not only masters of light, but masters of darkness as well. So that's the concept. That's the thing down there that most men look at it and go, how do I do that? This is scary stuff, you know. So
let's make it a little bit practical in a way, because you by yourself made a lot of shifts on your journey as well.
Yes.
And can you tell us just some little bit of pieces of the puzzle? Tell us where you were coming from, which challenges you had to overcome to become those fully awakened men, and also to embody the wildness in you and the darkness, and which challenges were there
in my own life.
Yeah.
So I come from an academic background, right? I was in the rocks in studying geology. And so when I quit my career as a geologist and I went from being a scientist to being on a spiritual quest, I went full on into that. So there wasn't much support at that time. I was in different mystery schools. I studied with different gurus and teachers. But around that time, what was missing was really an understanding of, I was like lost many times. I go like, I don't know, I don't understand what's happening. And so during that time, I met different people, and a lot of the challenges, a lot of the awakenings that I had were within the context of relationships. So I would meet a woman, and this woman comes into my field and starts kicking my ass and basically bringing energies and challenges in my field. And I go like, wow, I'm not equipped to deal with that. I'm not actually emotionally equipped. I don't have the tools and the resources to deal with that. And so the first big challenge that I faced with a woman, this was like 25 years ago, then I realized that I didn't have precisely a darkness vehicle. It's like it was coming from a place where she was throwing challenges at me, where I was like, I'm completely unarmed and unequipped to deal with that. I don't have an emotional body that knows how to circulate those energies. Why? Because I had been meditating, you know, all my life, and I had 7 years. I could sit down 12 hours straight with not blinking an eye and be in this state of pure light. And she was like, well, let's see how strong you are, and starts kicking my base. And within a week of being in her field, I'm completely annihilated and destroyed. I was like, wow, I thought I was strong, but I'm not, right? So this is these are the challenges that I faced, was, you know, feeling like there was essential aspects of my being that were not built yet. So trying to recover those things. So I go to the Himalayas, I go to Egypt, I go to the US, I end up in Canada, I come to Netherlands, I spend time in Hungary looking for the different parts of my being so that I can start functioning as a human being. And the good news is that now, after having tested all that, now the pathways are like super clear. Like I can see within that field the things that work and the things that, you know, might be side tracks. And also when I'm giving sessions to people, you know, within the context of coaching sessions, or within the context of having workshops or seminars or immersions over here, then I can point out more or less easily the places where there is a gap, where there is an energetic gap, and what to do about it. So for instance, you know, you have light masculine, light feminine, dark masculine, dark feminine. For most people, there is going to be one of the quadrants there which is very strong, and then you go like, well, you don't have, your light feminine is not very developed, or your dark masculine is not very developed. So we try to see the place where there is a balance to be made, and then to activate those different archetypes by using precisely mantras and God and goddess energies. For instance, when I want to activate the dark feminine, I go into Kali, right? It's Kali. So it's a prayer, it becomes a meditation, calling in those energies and then embodying them all the way into incarnation.
So what is the essence of the dark feminine, the energy of the dark feminine? What's the essence of that?
Well, the essence will be a certain sense. In that case, Kali she's the destroyer, right? The ones we're going to burn. So for me, the essence, when it comes to embodiment, the essence is energetic or emotional freedom, because she's going to burn everything that is no longer needed in my field. So for instance, when we talk, what is the essence of love, or what is the essence of light? The essence of darkness itself is something that that we cannot even name, because it's you know, it's almost like an experience. What is the essence of the air or the sky? You go like, it just is. It's like it's a state or an energy source, an energy that is there. So the darkness itself is a polarity. Now, when we call on the energy of Kali in the form of being the destroyer, the transformer, don't be afraid by the word destroyer. It means that it's a good thing, you know. It's a little bit like taking a vitamin pill that is going to burn inside of you everything that is no longer needed. So aspects of your ego that needs to go. And so in the process of doing that, Kali comes and then starts creating space,
yes,
energetic and emotional freedom. Each time I have an emotional or energetic challenge inside of me, Kali has always been the ultimate answer for absolutely everything. For the last 25 years that I've been working with that energy. And
so it's about letting go of a picture that you hold on, or a belief, or what I see, what I imagine is really, I see myself letting go and burn myself, the ego itself into the fire, and let go of it, surrender it, and then come again out of the fire.
Exactly. Yeah. So imagine that, for instance, when we talk about ego death or ego dissolution, right? That there are certain experiences in your life that might be traumatic and high impact and intense. It might be a health issue, a divorce, or a situation where a loved one dies, or something, you know, you lose a business that you have been working on for a long time. Then your whole sense of identity is collapsing, right? It's being destroyed.
Yeah.
And so what we do at that moment, we call in the energy of Kali. And the energy of Kali is going to help you clear the space and be like, okay, who are you? It's like, are you your business? No. Are you your family? No. Are you your bank account, your car? No, you're not all these things. What are you? Who are you? And you go like, I'm eternity. I am essence. So everything else that is not that is going to be burned in the process. And you go like, oh, but that means you're going to die. What is left? You say, don't worry, the spirit doesn't die. It means that the parts of you that are still needed are still going to be sustained. But in the process of doing that, you know, you just renew, refresh your field in a very purifying way.
Yeah, I feel you totally.
Yeah, so, right.
What I feel right now is also to make it a little bit more practical, and to let them feel over there what we can do with Kali and Kali fire. Maybe we can do an exercise. Yeah, we can call people for, okay, what's the thing that you have to let go, or you hold on and it's destructive, or what part of your ego, or and then do an exercise with Kali and maybe a mantra, or
exactly
2-3 minutes. Yeah,
exactly, totally. So imagine for those of you who are watching right now, try to focus, or to tune into an aspect of your life that right now is holding you back. Something maybe from the past, something that you don't want into your field anymore. It can be just a very, you know, just toxic emotion that is in your field right now. Some anger that you have for somebody, or an aspect of your life that you go like, oh, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, or you hold on to certain relationship that does not benefit you at all. For many years, maybe a friend or a partner.
Exactly. So what is needed in a situation like that is a refreshing fire of energy, a purifying fire. And the way you can invoke that is the technique doesn't get simpler than that. It's just like the word is Kali, and Jaya means victory, right? So I do this mantra every morning for 5 minutes as a preventive thing, just in case something shows up, then I already have burning energy inside of me. And it goes like this. Kali Jaya, 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 and you can keep on going. Kali Jaya, 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 Kali. And so as we are doing this practice, what you notice is that already my hands start to move. For this to be an embodied practice, an integrated practice, instead of this being just like Kali Jaya, you actually feel, you bring the feelings, and then you have 5 degrees of intensity in that. The first degree is really when it's really soft. Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. And level 2 will be with a bit more intensity, because this is gradually increasing the rage of the fire, the intensity of the anger. So level 2 will be like Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. Level 3, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. Level 4, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. Level 5 is full on rage, all the rage and the anger that you want to come in. Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. And you can keep on going, right? So you might be like straight away, when you finish the practice, you breathe in and arms to the sky. And again. Yeah. And as soon as you see this embodiment, this intensity, you go like, oh my God, this is safe. What kind of form or force are we calling in? And you go like, well, the force that we are calling in are forces that are alive inside of us. You see, we went full on into it, and look at me, I'm smiling. I've been practicing that for 25 years. I'm fine. I'm not going around like, my precious, I'm not turning into some form of weird or crazy guy. No, I'm fine. I'm like, on the contrary, this is creating energetic emotional freedom, because this emotion that we did express right now, and the fire of Kali Jaya, this fire that we did express right now is amazingly powerful, and it's there inside of us all the time. Right? So this is very important. It's there all the time. When you have frustration and tension that builds up, it's like, you have this tension, right? Imagine that you're holding the stress for like a day, then the arm starts getting really painful, right? You do that for a week and your arm is dying, and it's not much, but it's like it keeps on pressurizing your life for years and years. So what we are doing here is like practices to release the tension, to bring in the tension. And this is precisely activating the wild man or the wild woman inside of us, the warrior spirit, this thing that has been suppressed. And just behave. You have to fit within the norms of society. And so we can recreate freedom. And the other thing that is really important is that when we finish, this is what we did. We went, because we honor that energy, and it is a prayer. It's a dynamic meditation. It's an active practice of calling in force and energies which are part of us all the time. And okay, just trust me, it works.
I know it works.
The only way to figure it out and to find out is not to stand at the side of the pool, is to practice. So if you did this practice right now, if you're listening to this video, to this message, I encourage you to just practice that 5 minutes every day for like a week. And if after one week you want to do more, do more.
Yeah.
But just try it and make it part of your day to have a cleansing. It's like putting yourself under a cold waterfall of fire that is burning what is no longer needed in your field.
And thanks for sharing this practice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really practical practice and really powerful. There's another question coming up. Because this session is also about embodying your sexual power or your sexual fire.
Yeah.
And my intention is to dive a little deeper into the dynamic of relationship, because I see a lot of men and women are facing problems when they are going on a date or they're coming together, and they really desire that loving partner to fulfill their dreams together, and yeah, they want to interact on a deeper level, but there are also a lot of shadows, a lot of pain and challenges with the men and the women.
Yes.
So maybe if I'm sharing this, there's something going up in what you see and what you feel in the dynamic of a relationship, and what can they do or we do to go deeper to make it work. And
yeah, beautiful. I love this topic, by the way, because this is the place where we have massive space for evolution. So the thing that is missing right now is really having a safe container or a safe temple or archetypal form to anchor the codes of relating, or what I call the coupling codes, right? So imagine you're a teenager, Mathijs is born in the Netherlands over there, you've got your first girlfriend, you're 15 years old, and you say, great. And then you go and have sex and you start trying to figure out things, and you have absolutely no training on how to communicate, what to say, when to say it, how to relate to that person. So you are going to figure out things. And then somewhere down the line, you know, maybe 10 years later, you had 2 or 3 relationships with different girls. And then suddenly you have a child, and then suddenly you go like, oh, now you have to be a father. And then, you know, the whole thing starts tumbling down because there are emotions and things happening inside of you that you are not going to understand. And so what we are missing is really education and training on how to make it work. And so why is it that we are not being exposed to education and training, for instance, on sex, right? It's because it's taboo. It's because out there, the teachers who are supposed to be teaching you about that, they are like, I feel really uncomfortable talking about sex. You go like, but you are a teacher. You should be teaching that to the children. And so we are going to avoid the topics, make it a shameful, you know, and shame the whole field of sex. And then in the context of doing that, we are shaming also, you know, we are not giving the tools on relationships. And so there is like a whole body of understanding that is completely missing. So within the field of Tantra, what we try to do is to balance up that. It's like, certainly the concept or the idea, for instance, the thing that I've been teaching over the last 6 months a lot is tantric coupling, right? Coupling. Certainly it's not anymore about, oh, I need a new communication technique, or I need to have better sex with my partner. It's like, no, we want to be coupling masters. Coupling masters, it means that we want to be masters of our coupling experience, understand different things, understand the hidden dynamics and the you know, the energetics of what's happening in a relationship. We want to understand sex, we want to understand communication, and we want to have the models or the pathways on how to anchor that on a multidimensional level with the core values that are going to create the right experience. Like, what are the core values that we need to have in a relationship? I've got probably like 60 very precise codes, right? Transparency, honesty, sex, fun and play, consideration, showing up for each other, you know, these kind of things. It's like sometimes you are going to be living with a partner, if you are a woman or if you are a man, somebody who, if you are listening right now, have you ever noticed that your partner is not being present with you when you are sharing something? Like, I'm sharing something important, I can feel that my partner is not present. Presence is an essential part of creating the chemistry. How about secrecy in a relationship? That's a complete deal breaker, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, and I know there's a lot, but what I feel right now is let's go to the start, because you were talking about, okay, you are young, a teenager, and you have sex for the first time, and you don't know what to do, and you have an experience, but it's really small, and maybe you were insecure and scared, and maybe there is also a painful experience in that you do things you don't want to do. So that's what I see in the collective, is that they repeating that, and that they're still a little boy it's hurting and scared, come to meet a little girl, but they are grown-ups now, but they are still scared and insecure and following a program about this is sex, so we have to do it, and then come together, and then
exactly,
the big disappointment. And I know there's a lot more, but
so how do we start with that? That's your
exactly.
question, right? Yeah, exactly. So to take it to the very basics, if we are taking those kids, if we're taking teenagers, 15 years old, and you put them in front of a girl, you take a boy and you put him in front of a girl, and you say, okay, just make eye contact first and just breathe together. And now what I want you to do is ask if that girl is okay with you touching her hand. Right? It's a simple thing like that. Just ask for permission. And then you start exploring the art of touch. You go like, before anything becomes sexual, first, just touching each other's hand and feeling just there, staying right there.
This. So we can do this as grown-ups. So we can imagine now we're sitting together and guide us through. So we are sitting and facing each other and
exactly. So if you want to establish a connection with somebody you never met before, you're on the first date, instead of spending the evening in conversation, just go like, oh, would you like to go to my place? And I've got some techniques or some things that I would like to try with you. Is this okay, right? You ask for permission, and maybe the person might be like, yeah, okay, let's try. So you face the person, you make eye contact, and then you start synchronizing the breathing. So synchronizing the breathing is just you look into each other's eyes and you just breathe together. And just by doing that, there are already emotions coming up. There is emotions coming right now between you and I, right? It's like, as soon as we come to presence, suddenly there is like vulnerability and we are dropping the weapons. It's like, we're no longer in combat zone. We are no longer in fighting zone. We're like, and the breathing. And then the next natural thing was precisely the touch, right? So you start establishing touch and connection. And then what can happen in the context of that, then the next thing that we would start doing within the context of Tantra is like start activating a mantra or word. And the mantra is anahata, right? A very simple one to connect with the heart chakra. Anahata Jai. And so you can sing it together.
So that's what I experience right now. So I'm on a date and I ask a girl to come over and we sit together, and instead of we're going to the bedroom and we sit together, we breathe, we touch, and I invite her, shall we do a mantra? Let's sing together. But this already is for a lot of people, what? Not
exactly.
To watch a movie and drink alcohol, but we're going to sit together and sing a mantra together.
Exactly. So here is the thing: it is that if we keep on doing the things we have been doing before, we get the same results, right? So if we want to do something different, we have to try. And once these techniques become really strong in you, like for instance, you have been practicing these things as well, right?
Yes.
So once it becomes strong in you, like for me, it's almost like a non-negotiable. I spend an evening with a woman, with somebody, and it might be a new lover, and I'm like, listen, I invite you into that. We might have a fire around there, and I say, I'm going to sing a mantra and you can join me in that. And because it's very strong in my field, then that's going to overpower whatever resistance is there. And don't get me wrong, I have been in situations in the past where the woman was like, and really rigid in the beginning. And after a while, she relaxes and enters into the space and realizes that this is actually a really valid thing to do. You can also start, shaking and energizing together and start, dancing or doing simply contact dance, right? You will use touch as a language instead of words to bring that resonance in there. And something else could be like using communication as well. Communication might be more intentional in the sense that you be like, what I notice about you right now, to come to a place of presence instead of what do you do for a living, where do you come from, your parents, and all the interview questions. Instead of doing that, you go like, what I notice about you right now is that there is a very refined beauty coming out of your eyes. And then she might share something back. So this is like, intentional presence setting, language and interactions and
Amazing.
speech.
We are creating a date night right now,
Oh yeah, exactly. And there is so much more to say about this, because it's a really, really vast field as well. When we go into more intentional touch and more erotic touch as well, then it can evolve into something that becomes much more profound. But what's important in that is that something that we didn't talk about is that you can prepare yourself as an individual. It's like you will have already a harmonized erotic system in your field where you are already sexually integrated. It means that we didn't talk about solo practices. When we think about solo practices, you go like, oh, masturbation. No. This is self-pleasure is a very different thing than masturbation. Self-pleasure and mastering the sexual fire, for instance, right now, we can start activating the erotic fire, even though we are not in a sexual space, but simply through the breathing and through the
right. I think this is a good
activating the orgasmic breath. Yeah.
So let's recap, because I know you have so much to share, and that's what I love about you. You have so much experience and knowledge and integrated wisdom.
Yes.
But I also feel a lot of people right now at the other side, and it's a lot, we can do this.
I know.
So that's why. So let's recap. We had the date night for and what you can do. And then you can prepare yourself to do an activation, to gain more presence, but also to awaken your sexual fire. And I think that's a good thing to end also the session with, to do an activation in some practical steps that people can join with us to open ourselves. And you can go where you want to go. What do you feel?
Okay, beautiful. How much time do we have?
We are the time, so
just a couple of minutes, right?
A
couple of ones. Okay, so the thing that always works really well is the shaking practice. So when you wake up in the morning, there are 3 things that you can do. The first one is shaking. So I encourage you to set up a timer and just shake the body. Right now, my feet are really anchored on the ground, really solid. And then you open your mouth and you start making the sound, whatever is coming out. What's really important is that you're not holding the sound. You and when you can start, you can go slow in the beginning, but you can also intensify to especially if there is lots of rage and fire and anger coming to the surface. So this is the first practice. It's like I encourage you to do that for 5 minutes. And why do we do that? It's because we want to create energetic and emotional release. These are preventive practices to get rid of whatever is no longer needed in the field, to create
maybe you can share quick the steps, and then we can do an activation, but then short, 1 minute, or
exactly. So the second step is the fire breath, right? The fire breath can be done in lots of different ways. The way that I'm going to do it now is through the mouth. So you use the body as a pump, right? Imagine that the fire is recirculating through your system, and it's in and out through the mouth. You have about 100 different variations for that one, but right now it's just this one, very simple. And the third one is the practice that we just did, Kali Jaya. If you don't want to invoke Kali, you can just go like JAYAAA. Jaya means victory. JAYAAA. Or you could be saying, yes, 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 to call in abundance and life force and energy. But let's do it with the Kali, because I think Kali is really is the high impact energy. And each one of them is 5 minutes. You take a 1 minute break in between, just pause, and then what I encourage you to do over the next week is do that. This is a 15-minute morning activation that is going to completely, absolutely change your life.
Amazing. So now we can call it 3 minutes of fire. We do 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, a little practice, and then they can do it longer by themselves. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. You give me the signal, okay, when it's 1 minute.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. This is
okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, 1 minute of shaking, everybody, to finish this beautiful call with all of you. Yeah, let go in your system of whatever no longer serves you. Yeah, check it out. Open your mouth and make sounds.
10 seconds.
Smile. No, this is your time.
Okay. Next stage.
Beautiful. The next stage. I'm gonna do the fire breath, right?
Ten seconds.
And smile.
Right, next stage.
Okay, the next one, of course, Kali Jaya. So again, Kali Jaya, 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 Kali, and speed up. Kali Jaya, 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 Kali, and more intensity. Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, to freedom. Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, to joy. Kali Jaya, 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 Kali Jaya. And remember that this is a prayer, okay? This is a dynamic meditation. It's very different than sitting on your mat and just being in silence. This is like precisely full embodiment and integration. Yeah. Beautiful. Before we finish, I want to ask the audience a question, a very simple one. So I would like you, if you have been listening to this talk, this interview, I want you to write down 3 things, the 3 most important things that you will remember from this call. 3 things that really anchor, write them down so that you have something substantial to have in your field. That's it, a very simple one. Amazing. And yeah,
and
amazing.
Maybe they can share as well in the comments if they feel okay with it.
Yeah, of course.
To share, some practical things or what the benefits are.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, of course, on what we discussed over here, or anything else concerning your life, spiritual evolution, personal development, spiritual training, just feel free to reach out. I'm Shiva Rajaya at Vital Coaching on Instagram, on Facebook. And I have a YouTube channel as well, Shiva Rajaya, Vital Coaching. And my website is vitalcoaching.com. So you can sign up for sessions there. But right now, just if you have questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to check in what's happening in your own personal life. And te gek! Ik hou van jou!
Amazing, brother. Yeah, I will put some links also in the comments where they can find you. Let's connect with all of these amazing people.
Yeah.
What I'm feeling is, I don't know when, but there is coming a second part of this of this session.
I would love to.
Yes.
Such a pleasure, man. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, being you, doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. Throw your hands to the sky. We do 5 jayas, okay?
5 jayas.
Jaya!
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 One more.
Jaya!
Jaya means victory, okay? We can do this.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much.
Have an amazing rest of your day. And
yeah, you too. I love you.
Love you.